All right. Wonderful. Welcome everyone to today's Skill Up. My name is Emily Springer. I am an academic learning specialist at National University, and I am thrilled to be here today with Brianna Wyatt. Today, she will be covering emotional regulation and energy management for academic success. A couple of brief reminders as we get started. We absolutely want you to have conversation in the chat, and there will be some participation in the chat. So if you're willing and able, get ready for that. And then any questions in the Q&A. And hopefully at the end, we'll have some time to go ahead and ask some questions. You can absolutely find me in the chat if you need anything at all. I'm here to help support Brianna in today's session. So if you need me, you know where to find me. And without any further ado, Brianna, I will be passing this right on over to you.
Hello, everyone, and welcome from looks like Missouri, Florida, Arizona. So whether you're joining us live here today or you are catching us on the replay, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to learn some very important skills in emotional regulation and energy management. I am so thankful that all of you are here. So my name is Brianna Wyatt. I'm an associate professor of business and leadership. I'm also an embodied leadership coach and consultant, which means that I teach executives, students, leaders how to lead with heart, science-backed techniques and skills on how to embody leadership. In other words, how to have both personal and professional success. And as students here, a lot of that personal and professional success starts with academics. And that's how this conversation started with Emily and I to do this workshop. I'm also a mother and military spouse. So when we were all saying where we were at, I am currently in southern Spain. We recently moved here on military orders. So that is where I am coming from this evening. So today or tonight, wherever you are, we are going to talk about what I have found in working with thousands of clients and students, two very, very important keys on the path to personal, professional, and academic success. One is improving emotional intelligence. By improving emotional intelligence, you get to enhance decision-making, critical thinking, cognitive focus, resilience, and even confidence. The other is to prioritize energy management. This allows you to have more sustainable and also enjoyable success and physical and cognitive performance, right? We can't have that success if we don't have the emotional, the physical, and the cognitive capacity to do so. So we have about an hour together. There's so much to cover. I'd love to spend an hour with you every night for the rest of the week and beyond, because this is just such an amazing and important topic. But we are going to have hopefully a very interactive night. And so you can join in and really take away some practical skills to apply and start noticing immediate difference in your personal, professional, and academic life. Sound exciting? Okay, so what happens when we are out of balance? What happens when we are emotionally and energetically imbalanced? Chronic stress, anxiousness, overwhelm, fatigue, brain fog, lack of motivation, impatience, irritability, strain in relationships. The list goes on. So if you're open to it, I would love to hear which imbalances, if any of these speak to you, if any of these are like, oh, that's me, yeah, nailed it. I'd love to hear what you're seeking to alleviate or improve, if any of these. If something isn't on the list, then go ahead. Yeah, all of the above, right? They tend to go together. It really does, because when you're stressed out, you're anxious that you're stressed out. When you're overwhelmed, and then you're tired, and then you're emotionally tired, and so they tend to stick together. But the beautiful thing about that is that as you pull them apart, you start to heal them all. So if you're feeling the strain of all of them, please have hope that as we work through these skills and we start to heal one, in all likelihood, we get to heal and see relief from all of them.
And
Yeah.
Brianna, there's quite a bit that has popped up in the chat. Lots of people participating, just kind of overwhelming from what I can see, kind of all of the above, trying to take a look at all of that. One thing you mentioned, I know you said I could say it if it wasn't on the list, but procrastination. So if I feel some of these things, it leads to procrastination for me, which leads
Absolutely.
to more stress. But
Right. Well, and we're going to talk about that actually a little later on in our energy management, but because you brought it up, we'll talk about it. So you actually shut down. You actually are so overwhelmed that you stop. So you say procrastination, and procrastination can have a lot of different reasons, but from a from a coaching standpoint, when you say procrastination, it's, well, is it procrastination or is it fatigue? Is it burnout? And so you say, I'm procrastinating. Really, the body and the mind are so exhausted that you can't finish that paper. How can you come up with a creative strategy when you don't even, I can't even cook for dinner? Oh my gosh, I forgot my keys. Again, when you are so cognitively exhausted, or how do you get there? And so I think sometimes that symptom, and we'll talk about that, of procrastination, we think it's procrastination and there's something deeper. So ding, 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 ding. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Yes, absolutely. People are talking about the procrastination piece. And so let's jump right in then. Okay, so we thank you all for sharing. I really appreciate it. What this shows me is that you have an awareness of it. You know it's there. And that is the first step. Awareness is there. But what we're going to try to do today is move along the trajectory and move towards awareness to self-awareness. So emotional intelligence, very quickly, psychologist Daniel Goleman identified 5 main components: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. But as I mentioned, in all the clients and students that I've worked with, that self-awareness and self-regulation, that's the key and the door, right? If we focus on further down the way, we skip the step. So we are going to focus on self-awareness and self-regulation today. That self-regulation and energy management, there's a lot of overlap there also. So again, focus today. Self-awareness is recognizing and understanding our own emotions, strengths, and weaknesses, values, etc. And then that self-regulation is where choice comes in. So we might be aware, but when we self-regulate, that's when we're able to actually make a choice. And that is where the management, the energy management piece comes in. And that can be cognitive, emotional, and physical. Again, we'll get into it a little bit more. So benefits of improved emotional intelligence and energy management, all the things we talked about that were imbalances, well, the benefits of improving and balancing is really the counteracting all the things that were issues. So improved critical thinking, better focus and decision making, so less of the anxiety, improved stress management, less of the overwhelm, boost of confidence, greater emotional resilience, so that in the face of these stressful situations, you can find that depth to get through these trying situations. Increased energy and improved communication, because you have a self-awareness around what might be triggering some of these emotions. So someone asked, I just saw this. All of these slides will be available. So if there's something that, if I seem to be going quickly, if there's something that was on a slide, but I didn't say, these are for your information. Please stay as present as possible. All of this will be available after the fact. The last thing I want to do is cause any more overwhelm or information overload. My goal was to give enough information that it was very valuable, but I also want to make sure that we have enough time for activities and experiences. So if it seems like, oh my gosh, she skipped that, there's intention there because I know you'll have the recording and you'll have the slides, so you'll be able to review it. So rest assured, you'll get the recording and you'll get the slides. And you can always email me if there's a particular question you have later on. Great question. So our strategy today, head, heart, habits. If it was just about knowing the information, all of our lives would, right, we would be in perfect health and we would have straight A it was just about the knowledge. But we have to take that knowledge and we have to turn it into habit. But we have to filter it through, right, our own our heart, our value system, what is aligned. And so head, heart, habit allows us to take that and put it into action, meaning transformation is not in the information, but it's in the implementation. It's not about knowing what we need to do. It's about doing it, but not doing what someone told us, right? What I'm sharing with you today, I don't want you to do it because I said so. I want you to practice it. I want you to be your very own scientist in your life and try it and say, does this work for me? Does this help me? And if it does, continue to do it because you're the authority in your life, because you're the one that knows that it works, not because someone else is telling you that. So we are going to practice today. Okay, so self-awareness, right? It starts with reflection. So let's go ahead and jump right in with a reflection. We're going to do a little poll. And so I'd love for you to participate here. You're going to rate on a scale of 1 to 4 how you're feeling right now, emotionally and physiologically. So physically and emotionally, are you feeling calm and comfortable? Is there some slight tension or unease? Any moderate pain or emotionally discomfort? So maybe some anxiety, maybe there's a deadline today. Maybe you're thinking, hey, I really want to listen to this chick, but I got other stuff I need to do. Or is there a heightened sense of discomfort? Again, one isn't right or wrong, good or bad. We are just observing without judgment. We are compassionately noticing this. So go ahead and take a moment.
This is great. We've actually had lots of people respond already. We're almost at about 80% of participants participating. So I'm going to end the poll so you can see the results, Brianna.
Wonderful.
Are you able to see the results?
I am, yes. Yeah, and it looks like most people are just in slight tension or unease, which is a really great place to be. Now, I would guess that the participants in this call already have a very heightened sense of self-awareness, that they wanted to learn more, that they knew what emotional regulation was and energy management, that they were drawn to this. And so they may already have some tools in their tool belt for managing stress. And so I'm happy to see that we're there. And let's see if we can't even move the dial a bit to a little bit more calm and comfortable. So we're going to practice a body scan. So let's go ahead and do, I think I can do, there we go. I'm going to X out of the poll. Hopefully that doesn't do anything for anybody here.
All set.
Okay. Okay. So self-awareness, we had some self-reflection. And now we're going to move into a habit of self-reflection and self-awareness with a body scan. So I invite you wherever you are. If it's comfortable for you, you're welcome to close your eyes. If not, you can look down and soften your gaze. We're just going to do a very brief body scan and relaxation. So go ahead and start by taking a deep breath. And just start to notice any physical sensations. Again, without judgment, no need to analyze or find solutions. And then begin at the top of your head, progressively scanning down the back of your neck and over your shoulders. Inhaling and exhaling. And with each exhale, see if you can allow yourself to relax ever so slightly. As you notice, acknowledge any emotional responses. Again, without judgment, just noticing. Allowing the breath to move. Allowing your awareness, wherever it is, to slowly progress down past your shoulders and abdomen, over your hips and low back, over your thighs and knees, and ending at your toes. Now noticing your body as a whole. Again, gently observing without judgment. Allow yourself to take a few more deep breaths. And if your eyes were closed, you can gently open them. And begin to bring your attention back into the room, into your physical space. So just sticking with that energy we've created and maybe noticing a shift, noticing the shift that you created physically and emotionally in just a few moments. We're going to run the poll again and just see if there was a shift in energy. Again, no judgment. It may or may not have changed everyone's emotional or physical state. So again, this is for you, not for me. This is about you practicing self-awareness and self-regulation and self-reflection, right? About you being the scientist, you being the observer in your life, about testing the hypothesis, the theory, and seeing what happens. So it looks like, again, you have to judge what it was for you, but it looks like as a whole, we moved more from the category of slight tension and unease into calm and comfortable. Beautiful. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you everyone for participating, for being open to participating, and for being present. Because as we'll talk about, not multitasking is one, I shouldn't say simple, but not easy. How about that? One simple, profound, and not easy way to balance your energy, to reduce anxiety, to reduce overwhelm. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for practicing, because you really can't be checking emails, being on social media, focus, getting the mail while you're doing the body scan that we just did. And so that is a practice in presence. It's a practice in not multitasking. And so thank you. Thank you for practicing. Wonderful. We said, wow, I didn't think that would help as much as it did. Lovely, right? And again, you get to be the practitioner. You get to decide what works for you. And hopefully some of the things that we do today work really well. And if some of them don't, then leave them. This is just a little buffet, a little sampling for you to try. Take what works and leave what doesn't. Okay, here we go. So we've been talking about self-awareness. Why is it so important, right? A lot of you are already in the aware stage and maybe in the self-aware stage, but we're always trying to move from unaware to aware to self-aware. There's always things we don't know, right? And you don't know what you don't know. So we have these practices, this self-reflection to go from unaware to aware to self-aware, because self-awareness is the key to empowered choices. Self-awareness also supports self-regulation, because that self-regulation is when we make the choice. That's when we're actually taking action to respond instead of react, to feed ourselves healthy food, to sleep instead of stay up late, to say no to a certain project, et cetera, et cetera. So Maya Angelou has this wonderful quote that you can apply to so much, but do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better, right? That perfectly applies here. We are all doing the best we can. There is no doubt. I know all of you are doing the best you can. But when we know better, we'll do even better. And that's what we're here trying to do. We're trying to learn so that we can know better and that we can do better. So what does that even look like, right? Sometimes I have clients and students that are like, okay, aware, yeah, self-aware, what? So let's take a look at that. Procrastination, that came up earlier, procrastination and perfectionism. So someone who is unaware might just always be procrastinating on assignments, on projects, with things. It could be home projects, right? Again, personal and professional and academic, they're typically very, very tied together. They might not realize that the underlying theme is actually perfectionism. So they're saying, I'm too busy, I don't have enough time, it's this, it's that. Now, when they start to become aware, they're saying, gosh, this assignment, I feel this sensation when I get this deadline, and then I distract myself, and so I put it off. So even though I have all this time, I'm actually distracting myself. So they're aware, but they don't quite understand why. But with reflection, journaling, writing, self-assessment, seeking feedback through trusted peers and sources, they become self-aware. So they start to understand, I have a fear of failure. I I think I might fail. I want to prove myself. I'm afraid. I have perfectionistic tendencies. And so instead of doing the project and failing at it, I just put it off. What could I do? Offer myself some more self-compassion, working on understanding that my self-worth is not tied to this project, to this outcome, et cetera, et cetera. So that's one example of the unaware, aware, self-aware, and how instead of focusing on I'm always procrastinating, I need to fix that. When we become self-aware and we have that self-reflection practice, we can actually heal the root of the problem and thereby find a lasting solution, head heart habit, versus someone might say, oh, you're always procrastinating. You need time management, set an alarm, fill out this schedule. That won't help someone whose issue is actually perfectionism. So you have to understand yourself to understand what habits will actually work for you. Wonderful. Just catching up on some of the chats. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. I love that everyone is so engaged. Okay, let's look at another example. Check our time here. Okay, so group dynamics, irritation to insight. So whether it's committee work or in a group, whether it's coaching your children's soccer or PTA, bridal shower, whatever it is, we all have group dynamics personally and professionally. So if you're unaware, you might be irritated, right, in this group dynamic, and you don't know why you're frustrated. So there's always someone, right? There's always something. And it's like, why? Why is there always either a person or a project? It's just so frustrating. With time, you start to become aware and you notice, oh, okay, this irritation, I'm not being heard. And it's so disorganized. And I love to be organized and I want to be heard. Well, with more self-awareness, you understand what your needs are. You start to be able to have the confidence to vocalize those needs and understand how important it is within those group dynamics to be able to clearly communicate your needs. Now, does that mean that every time it's going to work out smoothly? No, but at least you begin to understand what those group dynamics are. You have insight in your own behavior, and therefore you're able to make healthy choices for yourself versus feeling at the whim of what's going on within the group. Okay, and here's one final one. People pleaser fatigue. Okay, so someone unaware might be constantly worn out, tired, their schedule is full, they're overcommitted, and they just think, God, if I had more energy, if I had more time. Well, when they become aware, they start to notice, I'm agreeing to too much. I'm taking on too much, but I'm just struggling to say no. As they become more self-aware, they understand that they just don't want to disappoint people, that they really have a rooted sense of people pleasing. And so they start to recognize the need to set boundaries, right? They start to build their self-confidence and their self-esteem through these skills and really start to have better well-being, less stress, et cetera, et cetera. So these are some examples of how we can move from unaware to aware to self-aware. Any of these apply? Any of these seem familiar or vaguely familiar to anyone? Oh yeah, nice. I love that. Oh yeah, I love it. Oh yeah.
Right away. And there's
Thank you for that.
several
Mhm.
other
Yes.
yeses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they do to me. Why do you think they're examples? I'm not only, but everything I share has a vein of real life in it for me because that's it. I'm here, I'm human, I'm vulnerable. I am a teacher because I live and I am a human. And so I am here learning and teaching, right? I'm not here. I say I'm not at the top of the mountain shouting down saying, good luck. Yeah, this is how you do it. I'm right here with you, right? Like, here we go. We are scaling this mountain together, learning step by step. Okay, here we go. So this is another way of looking at what we've been talking about. And this is how I teach it to my clients. Connection, clarity, choice, and change. So when we have a practice, when we have a mind-body practice of connection, we're able to have that clarity, that aha, that self-knowing. That empowers us to make a choice. Those choices are what create change in our lives. So we don't stay in the cycle of perfectionism, procrastination, people pleasing, unstable miscommunication, group dynamics, relationships, etc. So connection, clarity, choice, and change. This is our cycle of success. It's our cycle of sustainable success and also very heartfelt and aligned success because we've taken it through our own filter and we've made changes and created habits that are aligned to our own personal needs versus applying, again, habits that really don't speak to the root of the issue. Someone says, I can't spell no. I'll help you. I'll teach you. We'll work on it. Okay, so here we go. These are ways, right? And we've already been practicing. These are proven ways to improve self-awareness and self-regulation. So mindfulness, we already practiced our body scan. We did a little bit of breathing. Self-reflection, right? Even our simple polls were self-reflection. You can also do that in journaling. You can do verbal journaling, writing, self-discovery, human design, strengths finders. There's so many different ways to find out more about yourself. There's so many tools out there. Reduce multitasking. We also practice that today, right? Unbeknownst to you, because one, you're polling, you're answering the questions, you're here now. But that reduction of multitasking really helps to reduce anxiety because actually multitasking doesn't exist. Science is now showing us that we don't multitask, we just move between tasks quickly. Even just saying that starts to give me anxiety. I mean, literally, I'm like, so we're not actually doing two things at once, we're just going back. So true, no multitasking, single tasking. Spending time in solitude. That is so good for your nervous system. It also helps you to be more self-reflective because you're not distracted. And then, of course, seeking feedback from trusted, right? From trusted sources. Very important that they're trusted. Okay, so mindfulness, right? When I started teaching mindfulness like 12, 13, 14 years ago, I really had to prove it. I really had to be like, no, let me tell you. Now it's much more understood, but still, this is important, right? Everything I do is science-backed, heartfelt, science-backed. So mindfulness and neuroscience, all the science is there. When we practice mindfulness, we're activating that prefrontal cortex. So that's the area of the brain responsible for self-regulation. Hey, that's what we're trying to do. Decision-making and self-awareness. Reduction of the amygdala, reactivity, right? So that emotional response center responsible for fear and stress. Okay, I'll reduce that, right? Fear and stress. Increase gray matter. So that regulation, memory, learning, ding, 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 academic success. And then our ability to understand and to sense our heartbeat, our breath. So tuning into the body, the emotions, being able to self-regulate because we have an awareness of what's going on physically and emotionally in our bodies. So in case you needed more proof, in the pudding. Okay, so let's go ahead and do another practice. We're moving into that self-regulation. So we've been doing self-awareness. We're aware, but now we're really going to notice even more in our body, and even make kind of some changes, make some choices within the body. So we're only going to practice one of these today. First, I'll talk about box breath. It's a pretty popular one. You may have heard of it. Box as in square, as in 4 equal parts, balanced. That one is a great one to do if you're feeling imbalanced, because you are inhaling to a count of 4. You could start with 3. Again, there's no judgment. You have to do what feels good in your body. So you're inhaling to a count of 4, holding for 4, exhaling to a count of 4, and holding for 4. So just like a box. So we're not going to do that one today. We're going to do another one called 3-part or great healing. In Ayurveda, they call it Maha. So it's a great healing breath. So here we go again. We're going to do another practice together. So go ahead and get as comfortable as you can. Again, if you want to shut your eyes or that's available to you, you can. If not, you can just soften your gaze and start to look slightly down. Just notice your breath. A few breaths just to notice again. Then we'll begin by inhaling deeply into the low abdomen. Continuing to inhale into the rib cage, allowing it to expand outward, lifting through the chest. And on the exhale, we let the chest fall. Bring the belly button in towards the spine. And now I invite you to put one hand on your heart and one hand on your abdomen so you can feel this breath moving. So again, let's inhale deeply into the lower abdomen, into the belly. Inhale into the rib cage, allowing it to expand. And inhaling into the upper chest and lungs, lifting the chest lightly. And then on an exhale, letting the chest lightly fall. Bringing the rib cage in as the belly button moves towards the spine. Inhale, belly, side ribs, chest. And exhale, chest, side ribs, belly. Notice the sensation of your palms against your chest and abdomen. Notice the expansion and contraction on the inhale and exhale. And as you breathe, thoughts may enter and you may begin to become distracted, and that's okay. If thoughts come, just let them come and let them go. There's no need to build a wall or shut them out. Like clouds in the sky, you can just observe them. Watch them float in and watch them float away. On your next exhale, I invite you to let your hands fall into your lap. Roll your shoulders back and lift your chin. And when you're ready, you can begin to open your eyes. Bring your breathing back to its normal cadence. And come back into this space. So that practice, how did that feel, everyone? No pull there. Just now you're pros at self-reflection, so I didn't need to do a poll. So that set the foundation for us for energy management, because energy management really is self-regulation under the umbrella of emotional intelligence. Self-regulation focuses on emotions, but energy management focuses on not only emotion, but cognitive and physical as well. So again, energy management, maintaining balance physically, emotionally, cognitive, or mentally throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout your life, ensuring that you have the clarity and emotional resilience to handle stresses. Self-regulation lets you make those choices so that you can respond instead of react. Okay. So baseline, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is our fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Fawn is actually that kind of perfectionistic tendency. Our other is parasympathetic, our rest, digest, and renew. In our current lifestyles, we tend to live in the sympathetic. We tend to have so many stressors that we are constantly on. We are constantly in a state of stress, of fight, of flight, of freeze, right? Procrastinate. Emily said, procrastinate. Okay, well, doesn't that sound like freeze? Can't do it, right? So how do we move into parasympathetic? That's going to be our next exercise. So energy management, two simple things. The biggest regulators of physical energy are breathing and eating, right? So yes, we eat a couple times a day. We try to make good choices. We breathe all day long. It's a tool at any given point that we can change, right? Box breath, 3-part breath, simple, just noticing our breath. So using your breath as a tool to manage your energy throughout the day is a very simple, accessible tool that you can use in the car, at your desk, wherever you are, right? People don't necessarily notice what you're doing when you're doing this breath on a Zoom call, for instance, to really give yourself and move from that sympathetic to parasympathetic so you can renew your energy and move from that stress state to a more relaxed state. Because coming full circle now, high performance necessitates recovery. If we want to be successful, if we want to be the best we can be, the most creative, whatever that is, the best leader, publish, the best parent, whatever your big goals are in your field, in your life, in your relationship, high performance has to have times of recovery. And that doesn't just mean couch, right? We have to mentally, we have to physically, we have to learn how to actually disengage so that it's true rest and recovery. So how do we recover? Okay, we're gonna do a very simple practice, and I'm checking on my time. So again, I'm not gonna read through all of this now. You'll have it when you get the slides. But knowing that the science is here, we're going to do a hand to heart meditation. So this meditation is, again, proven to activate the parasympathetic nervous system to promote relaxation and reduce stress, enhance self-compassion, et cetera, et cetera. So let's go ahead and jump in so we have time to do this. Okay, go ahead and place your hand on your heart right here, right? So actually these fingers are touching the vagus nerve. You can put two hands if that feels good for you, but go ahead. Inhale deeply through your nose and exhale slowly through your mouth, focusing on the rise and fall of your chest. Focus on your heartbeat. I bet you can feel it. I know I can feel mine. It's racing just a bit. Bring your attention to the rhythm of your heartbeat. And as you hold your heart, send yourself compassion. As you breathe, you can silently offer yourself kindness or an affirmation, such as, I am safe, I am enough, I am worthy. What do you need to hear? Can you offer yourself that? One more deep inhale through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Let your hands fall away from your chest and into your lap. Rolling your shoulders down and away from your ears. That concludes our hand to heart practice. Very simple. You could do that for hours, really. But just even a couple of minutes can be profound and move you again from that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn into rest, digest, and renew. So remember, when you're working hard, when you're doing your best, when you are going strong, to allow yourself that intermittent rest, even in the form of a few deep breaths, of a hand to heart meditation, of a body scan. So to wrap up, I'd love to hear, and you can add it in the chat, which activities are you most likely to incorporate into your routine? Now, a lot of these we already did, we practiced today. Body scan, meditation, self-reflection, journaling, active listening, seeking feedback, reducing multitasking, spending time in solitude.
And we welcome you to put that in the chat as people are deciding if they want to share that in the chat. I would just point out that I would incorporate more mindfulness activities into my life. I find them extremely beneficial, and yeah, that's just me though. As you had mentioned, you get to make your own choices for what works for you. A couple of other people mentioning journaling, self-reflection, reducing the multitasking, which I think I have been schooled today. There is no multitasking.
It's not. It's you're just going back and forth between tasks. So don't kid
That
yourself.
actually, it's 100%. You are very correct.
Yeah. Yes.
Let me
Lovely.
see.
Well, thank you for sharing. I love seeing this. And again, try it. Be the observer, be the scientist, notice if it works. Keep track, feel it. and know that it's a season, so that in this season something might work, and if it starts to not, try something else, right? Continue to be on a journey to see what is working for you as you move to more self-awareness, self-regulation, and emotional intelligence. So that is a wrap for me today. I have thoroughly enjoyed being with all of you. Here are just a few references and resources that I used to create today's, and there is so many more. I know I talked to Emily about teaching a course because I would love to just, again, talk about this for hours and share, because this is obviously important to me as I share it with students and professionals, because our health and wellness is everything. It's foundational to our success. And then, of course, there is more health and wellness support beyond this workshop. And you students have access to Timely Care. That's there, timelycare.com/National University. And we also have the Whole Person Center. And so please take a peek there. I saw on their calendar today, they have mindfulness trainings. I can't remember how many times per month, but it was quite regular. So please check out the Whole Person Center through National University. And then, of course, if you have questions or feedback, or you want more content, you can email me at bwyatt @nu.edu, or espringer@nu.edu. You know how to get a hold of Emily. She's the face. She's the
I'm the Skill Up lady. Yes,
she's the
Brianna.
Skill Up lady. Yep, she's the powerhouse behind Skill Up. So
Well, thank you so much. And I want to echo, I absolutely want to echo your comments about how people, thank you so much for your participation in today's session as well, too, just kind of sharing your thoughts tonight. And as Brianna has mentioned, this PowerPoint will be sent to you in a PDF. So if you want to access those links of Timely Care or the Whole Person Center, you'll be able to kind of check out some of those resources that we offer through NU as well, too. But yeah, you're 100% right. Our how we regulate, how we have emotional regulation and energy management can affect how we are able to complete our academic studies as well, too, right? And so that's why I was absolutely very excited about offering this topic. And we had a very large number of people at NU who are very much so interested in getting tips or strategies on how they can have simple, accessible tools that they can use in their everyday life that will help them with strategies that help manage these things that we've talked about today. And I really appreciate your focus on self-awareness and self-regulation today. Couple of questions. One question that came up in the Q&A, and it's okay if this is just your personal opinion or if there's some scientific background, I'm not quite sure, but does praying count as meditation or self-reflection?
So I think it absolutely can, right? So my clients are of all backgrounds. And so absolutely. I think if that is your venue, right? Again, you're the scientist. How does that feel? When you pray, how do you feel? Solitude, quiet, reflection. Now in prayer, you are then in union with spirit, with whatever, again, depending on your type of prayer. But I think prayer is a wonderful access point. Again, we always start where we are. So for sure, there's the Power of Now. I added a resource that talked about a guide to spiritual enlightenment. So I always, in my practice, depending on a client's background and where they want to access mindfulness, there is literature from both spirituality and neuroscience. And so open the door to either, and they will both get you there. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your thoughts on that. And I do want to think there's just so much great stuff in the chat on just different things that people are wanting to work on here, or that they would like to incorporate more into their life. I don't want to necessarily say work on more, but incorporate I like.
That's a great point. So I had folks, do you know how many slides I had? Do you know how hard it was to narrow this down to 24? So one of the bullet points that I took off on, and one of the slides that I took off, one of the ways to manage your energy effectively is to do things you enjoy. That is absolutely a proven method of better energy management. So this is why head, heart, habit. This is not about picking up a habit that some chick on some workshop told you to do. This is about finding an enjoyable activity. This is about, wow, that felt good. Because guess what? We do things that feel good. We are more likely to stay motivated to stick with things that feel good. And so I hope it's not work for you. Now, does it take a minute to create a routine to stick with it? Set an alarm. Really, truly, in your phone, you can set an alarm for a couple times a day with a mantra. I am worthy. I am enough. Set it for your biggest stressors. Do you tend to stress out at 9 o'clock at night when you're finishing your assignments? Set an alarm for 9 o'clock at night that says, I am enough. Even I'm enough no matter my grades. I am enough, whatever it is for you. Set an alarm, ding, ding, ding. Okay, when this alarm goes off, I am enough. Do that every day of the week. Boom, routine. Does it feel good? And again, a lot of you in the comments were saying it felt good. Wow, that was great. That actually felt good. So it's do the things that feel good. Practice and find what works for you. Head, heart, habit. You will stick with it if it's something that feels good, and doing things that feel good are good for you.
Well, thank you so much, Brianna. I really, really appreciate it, and your expertise, and I hope that the participants who are joining us live got some real simple, accessible tools that they can use in their everyday life. And all of those who are watching us at a later time, thank you all for registering for today's Skill Up. And until the next time, I hope you all have a great rest of your day.